drugs that are designed for the mutations. So there are over 100 what we call precision medicine drugs that are targeted specifically for the cancer mutation. So what we do is that in the precision medicine approach now, we sequence the cancer tissue. We find specific mutations. We say, yes, I identified this mutation, and I know this drug will be working on this mutation efficiently. So, and there you point the patient toward a good medicine they can take. Because of the time limit, here I talk about a little bit about 23andMe and the difference between using a chip technology versus DNA sequence. The chip technology is very good, but it's cheap, it's fast, but it doesn't detect any nuisance. So if you don't know where your mutations are, then you have to do sequencing. So an exome sequencing is a very efficient way because it contains 95% of all genetic mutations. So essentially, that's where most of the things happen. Or what we know the things are. The sequencing costs are coming down. So I will talk a little bit. Let me see. So of course everything I talked about is big data. It's like you sequence a lot of people, but just sequencing people doesn't help. How you find the link between disease and sequencing is to collect also the medical information, the phenotypes, like the medical records in the hospitals for their population. So if you are interested in the US population, you should go to Johns Hopkins University and collect all their medical information. And then sequence all those people. And then you see what problem they got, and then what genomes they have. And then you build a connection. So these are big data analysis. And then of course you can use AI systems to do this kind of study and to find the causes of diseases. And that's the difference between association study and causes. Genomics gives you causes, tells you which protein, how this program is being altered, and how that affects your body function. It's causal. There's another field that I'm particularly interested in. It's where it involves AI. It's the cancer vaccination. Actually, this is a vaccine to cure cancer, and it's called neoantigens. This is a project we're working on. There were three major advancements in this field, and I think this brings the promise of cure essentially, I would say most of the cancer, at least from theoretical aspect. I can see that it looks for the root cause of cancer, and then it eradicates the cells within the body. And it can do that through using our immune system. It's like a vaccine. But what it does, essentially, it takes the cancer tissue, it sequences, and identifies individually what mutations they have. Okay, these are the problems that the cell in the program. And then we know what we call the HLA system. It's essentially these are antigen-presenting molecules. Everybody is different that can grab on these proteins, these bad proteins, and show it to our T cells and B cells and tell them that I have a problem. If I sequence the cancer tissue and I find the mutations, and then I know which mutation can be presented by our HLA molecules, then our immune system will be able to eradicate these cells, cells that contain this mutation. And the core of this system is an AI system. So for those people who are studying AI, that's to figure out, so there are thousands of mutations in cancer cells. And there are only like probably a dozen that can induce immune response by your T cells and B cells. The key is AI system that are trained on many people, on the immune system, on what kind of antigens they can present, and then look at the specific cancer sequences and tell which ones, what we call neoantigens, can cause an immune response against synthesize those peptides, those neoantigens, and you inject the body. And the way we inject is probably not 1, not 10, but like 20 or 30 of them all together. It's like it's surrounding up the cancer from the information perspective. So there's no way the cancer can escape all of these 30 different targets, antibodies, different armies of antibodies come to erase the cancer. So I personally think this is a cure of cancer. It's more advanced than CAR T technology today, and probably in 5 to 10 years we'll see dramatic change from this neoantigen approach to the cancer surgery. And it comes out of the AI. That's it. Thanks.
Good morning. Welcome to this panel on data science for healthcare. My name is René Vidal, and I'm the director of the Mathematical Institute for Data Science and also a faculty member here at Johns Hopkins University. So, as you know, data science is revolutionizing science and technology. I think we've all seen how it's revolutionized speech recognition, and all of you can talk to Siri in your phones. We've all seen how it's revolutionized computer vision, and I think everybody's using Snapchat and taking photos and uploading all the time. I guess we've seen how data science is out to revolutionize robotics, and we've seen how Uber already and Google are very close to getting cars that are autonomous driving. So I think maybe this panel, and I'll begin with that question to all of our panelists, what do they see as the key opportunities for data science, machine learning, big data in healthcare and personalized medicine? So let me begin with Hannah.
Thank you. Yes, for a little bit of context, I work at a company called Abellis. We use computer vision and machine learning in order to rapidly image immunoresponses to a wide range of patient groups. Specifically in oncology, cancer patients are exhibiting a very specific kind of immunoresponse both to the therapy as well as to the cancer itself. And we're able to analyze critical metrics such as the neutrophil counts, the activation profile of cells, as well as some other morphological phenomena such as cell integrity, membrane integrity, from a single drop of blood in a patient's home. And so our device sits in a patient's home, and we're on a point of care setting it very rapidly to generate these critical metrics for oncology. for us, machine learning is at the core of everything we do. It's how we train the model to recognize the various kinds of white blood cells, red blood cells, platelets, and to augment the way a pathologist thinks, the way a pathologist looks at cells, and then on top of that, to do things that no pathologist may have ever done before, which is what I think is one of the most exciting things about machine learning, being able to spot patterns in large data sets that are very difficult for a human to fathom, very difficult for a human to ever fully describe even. And begin applying them in a way to optimize treatment, to reduce infections, hospitalizations, other kinds of adverse events. So really, I think the area that machine learning, at least in the field, and sort of an area that I work in, the application machine learning has there is to optimize everything a human does, doing much better, and to spot trends that are we can't see today.
Hello, yeah, my name is Jing Song, and I'm the CEO of a company called GCC Medicine. My background is biochemistry and working in genomics for many years. So our company is interested in aging and age-related disease. So we, as some of you may know, drug discovery industry if you want to develop a new drug, it can 10, 15 years, and even tons of money. So we hope if we can use artificial intelligence to accelerate the drug discovery process. So specifically, we are applying deep learning, or more specific is called the deep neural network. So deep neural network is a mimic how our brain to make a decision. So we apply this knowledge to help us to narrow down the drug candidates. So we hope we can accelerate the drug discovery process. And we're also using another technology called generative adversarial neural network, So we call it GAN. So we use this technology to de novo generate the new molecules. As in the pharma industry, the traditional way, normally we design a molecule, then we screen the molecules, then we process the clinical trials. So our technology is we give the algorithm a condition, have the algorithm generate the new molecule. In that way, we hope we can save our time and save our money.
Hi everyone, thank you for the invitation. My name is Shen Luo. I'm an associate professor of biostatistics at Duke University, and also I graduated from Hopkins in 2008. So it's good to always come back to the school you graduated from, right? So I know a lot of students here, so hopefully we have some networking experience after that. Okay, so I'm in Duke Medical School, so we have a lot of EHR data, and I think one thing I want to, before I get into a little bit detail, I want to echo our speaker Tom said that you have this BT or IT, right? You have the big product, right? I want to add another factor into that, which is DT, right? Data science, data technology that will make your product even better, right? Okay, so in terms of what we are doing, one thing I want to mention is that I think a lot of people are aware of this, is that there are a lot of biobank data out there. So for example, UK biobank data has 500,000 people, and then even China has China biobank data. So there are huge amount of data out there. And then I think one unique feature of this data is that you have many different type of data, not just clinical data. You also have genetic genomic data, you have medical imaging data, you have environmental data, you have even Facebook and social media data. So, but I think the biggest question here is, I think that's the reason why we are sitting here, is that, well, with this the big data, what do you do with it, right? So I think my philosophy is that with big data, you should have the big brain and big analytic behind this. So a little bit about what we are doing. So we are doing a lot of so-called predictive medicine, which means that we use the state-of-the-art statistical technology to develop predictive models for monitoring disease progression. So I think the unique feature here is that this is different from the traditional predictive model in the sense that the prediction can be updated when you have a new data, so which can be collected from your smartphone or from wearable devices, and then you can, for each individual patient, you can have a dynamic prediction of what you will be doing in the next 3 months and what will be your risk of having a certain disease in a particular period. So I think this is one of the essential component of the predictive medicine or precision medicine initiative. So when you have all these big data, you should make use of it and then make some relevant predictions so that you can have a targeted treatment or targeted prevention for these individual at risk.
Hello everyone, my name is Jin Chen, and it's great pleasure to be here and thanks to GCC. And so I'm here representing Brainco, a brain computer interface company based in Boston. We were incubated in the Harvard Innovation Lab, and we're using EEG signal. We have this wireless EEG headband, so we take the information, the signal from the brain, and use that into different applications. So for our company, machine learning is make a huge difference compared to traditional like psychology, cognitive neuroscience research, mostly based on like models, assumptions, and theories. By using machine learning and like AI technologies, we rely on the data-driven approach a lot, and which is really powerful in terms of can classify the different cognitive states, like emotional states, and take those features. Before, like in academic research, like many like movements, like those muscle noise, can just considered as artifacts. By using big data, those all can be considered as data and fit into the model and can predict our human behavior much better. So, and we are also applying those technology to monitoring our cognitive, like the engagement during classes or during like performing different tasks like a high-speed train driver. We're aiming to use this technology to monitor their alert and their like sometimes emotional events. So to help them be like safer. So for safety control, and I'm a cognitive neuroscientist, and we are another aspect more related to medicine is we are doing applications into neurodevelopmental disorders, namely ADHD and autism. So we are using their brain signals to feed back into their training games. So that way we can leverage their brain physiology, not only behavioral interventions, but it's behavioral and physiology combined. We hope to create a closed loop intervention there.
So I think we've heard about a lot of great opportunities for AI and machine learning in healthcare. I wanted to ask you also a little bit about the challenges moving forward both in your research and in industry. So for example, many of you thought about the opportunities in brain-computer interfaces, genomics, or digital pathology. But maybe for the Googles of the world, having all of the data and annotating it as regular images or speech might be easy, but in the case of healthcare data, that might not be the case. Maybe you spoke about technologies like deep learning that are very much data handling and annotation. So can any of you comment about challenges moving forward in applying big data techniques to healthcare?
Yeah, I mean, I can share a little bit about some of the challenges that we face when got started and actually put our device platform together for some of the first types of cells. And I think the biggest challenge is always getting the right kind of data and getting getting high quality enough labels and data to actually train things on. The truth is everyone has the same models. Whether it's a college student, in GitHub or a researcher at Google, everyone has access to the same models. The thing that ends up making a difference, and I think successful research in the industry covers and unsuccessful ones, is consistent and specific access to high quality data. And for us, the way that we did that is, and an approach that many companies take, is you actually create that own data. Our device platform, for a single drop of blood will generate images of about 10,000 cells. And we had to work with a lot of pathologists to obviously get that labeled over time. And some of our initial applications in analyzing neutrophils and analyzing other types of common white blood cells, it's much easier to get a large amount of data rather quickly with just a few pathologists. But when you go to more arcane or more specific phenomena that needs more data, you sort of need to have a snowball effect where your devices are getting utilized for, in our example, our devices today are utilized with a couple of pharmaceutical drugs that need very frequent monitoring of neutrophil levels. But the sort of side hack that sort of the benefit that we get is we generate a lot of data every time someone uses our system for that existing use case, and over time that'll let us build out new use cases. So I think the trick is to create some sort of a virtuous cycle where you're not just able to pull data from somewhere and label and train on it, but to create this continuous loop where people are actually benefiting from your data collection, which is what all the large companies do, right? I mean, every time you Google something, it's obviously benefiting you, but it's also benefiting Google. And I think the second you have that loop, it becomes much quicker to snowball it into something where you're generating tens of thousands of data points every single day.
Yeah, I totally agree. For us, the challenge is how can we get high quality data. So right now, we are collaborating with many big pharma companies in the drug discovery field. So the player like us, a small player, so we could not afford to spend money to generate all these type of data, and so for us the barrier, how can we get access to the high quality data is a big challenge for us, and we hope in the coming years, with a new technology, a new platform, so we can, remove the barrier, between the company like us and the high quality data.
I think I'm the only statistician here, so I want to look at the whole thing from a little bit different angle. In my opinion, in the last few years, the AI, ML, DL, machine learning, and deep learning have been widely used in many applications, especially in medical applications. However, I think we have to be actually careful here what we are doing when we use the AI. So as the first speaker mentioned that the algorithm seems to be the same, right? So everybody use the same algorithm. Now that's exactly where we should be cautious about, because you don't really know what is in the algorithm, right? So it's too complicated for regular people to understand it. So, well, if you want to change something within the algorithm, it's very difficult. So regardless how good your data set is, right? So one example I want to give is that, for example, if you look at the data set, right? So with 0.1% of the individual have disease, okay? So now you run your AI or ML or DL, right? So very likely that you have 100% people classified as no disease, right? Because that's what your data is, right? You only have 0.1% of the people with disease. However, after you train this algorithm, right, and then you apply to this model or algorithm to a brand new data set with about 50% prevalence of disease, right? I am sure that this algorithm will break down. You have to retrain the whole algorithm to begin with. So this is the well-known problem with ML or AI, this kind of problem. So that's, I think, one of the reasons why they need huge amount of data to train the algorithm. On the other hand, a statistic model may not have this problem. So just in the example I talk about, we have a very elegant way to handle this, even using a very small representative data set. So I'm not biased against AI, but my point here is that AI has a certain domain of application. If you cross the boundary and then go out to other things, you kind of misuse AI, so be careful about that.
Yeah, I totally agree. The data and relevance and the high quality data's importance is never can be overestimated. And especially for like human brain data, it's so complex, and also it's connected to like our cognition, our conscious, our will so much. So it's really important to because use machine learning AI, you can cluster the features into different groups just based on the data itself, and it may not be able to tell you how our brain actually works, the mechanisms. Still, we don't understand. So it's definitely take a whole collective effort, like the AI, the statistics learning, and also fundamental research like cognitive neuroscience, human behavior. All those we should have a big picture. Keep that in mind, and so that will help us go further.
That's actually a really great comment. I just wanted to compliment that. The very comment that you just made was one of the reasons I think why we created these mathematical institutes of data science at Hopkins, because we are at Hopkins. We have great people in machine learning, great people in computer vision, and all of the technology that needs to be developed. But we are very cognizant that for applications in medicine, it's fundamental to understand why these methods are working so well, when they fail, and how you can make good statistical predictions with them. So the Mathematical Institute of Data Science is precisely focusing on the mathematical foundations of these methods.
One thing I want to echo is that I think for AI, the nice application is the classification, as you said. So, however, in medical field, I think we are more interested in inference or estimation. Okay, so let's give an example. Let's say a pharmaceutical company invests billions of dollars, right? They have a compound. They want to run a clinical trial, right? So at the end of the trial, the key question is that is this drug or compound efficacious, right? So you have to make a yes and no decision, right? So in statistics, what we do is that we do a hypothesis testing, right? However, this field, I don't think AI can come in. If you just to give a conclusion yes and no with no confidence interval, that would be very dangerous, I think, in my opinion.
So my next question is, I guess we've all been reading the news this week, and we know that Facebook CEO has been in Congress talking about issues of security with data and whether we need to regulate the access of social network data. So machine learning for healthcare, it's a much regulated field. We've got the FDA that imposes regulation. And we saw from the talk earlier today about genomics and how the Chinese government is investing a lot in getting genomics data from, so the regulation field is not identified. So what I wanted to ask our panelists is, what are the regulatory challenges they foresee in getting devices in the market with AI technology?
Yeah, I think that
both in the US and in China.
I think that there's a couple of layers of regulatory challenges. The first is obviously, in the FDA showcasing that any new therapy or any new device platform is effective and accurate in a wide range of situations. And that alone is for most endeavors ends up being a reasonably large financial and time commitment to make happen. And then you have the second layer of regulatory challenges, which is when you're in production, which is more related to preventing security leaks, more related to ensuring that results follow some level of base level quality control, and then obviously protecting patient health information. And so, I think these set of challenges are in many ways reasonably unique to healthcare, in that, it's not like a web app that you can just put up and it's ready to go, and it's important that, they're acknowledged from day one. But I think that they're very controllable as well, given that such a, a defined framework exists. It's a risk that can be analyzed, it's a risk that can be quantified and sort of mitigated from the onset. And so for us, it was reasonably simple to spin up HIPAA compliant backend using AWS servers and storing the images in the appropriate fashion. And then whenever we go to a medical center or partner on a certain pharmaceutical trial, it's one of the first things that comes up, but it's also one of the easiest things to help explain and to help clarify, because there's a very specific way to talk about it and a very defined set of rules to work on. In terms of the safety in clinical trials, it really comes down to the design of the trials, right? Which is, are you testing a significant patient population? Are you testing a population that represents all the different interference that might be present in the real world? So for us, that included patients on a wide range of therapies, like potentially a certain compound may impact the way cells work. You have to prove that it doesn't. And so I think these are all challenges to take into account. Very important to quantify in any healthcare. Maybe even the first step in healthcare.
Yeah, for us, as I mentioned, we are facing the challenges highly regulated in the healthcare area. So because we need the data, but we have trouble to access the data, and due to regulation and the security safety reason, so we are